To find the soul, you must first lose it. A quote often attributed to the spirit of Carl Jung's work, capturing the paradoxical nature of the inward journey. Imagine you're walking through your own home, a place you believe you know like the back of your hand. Every room, every corridor, every piece of furniture is familiar. But one day, you stumble upon a door you've never seen before. It's old, wooden, and has no keyhole. Curiosity mixed with a strange, inexplicable dread washes over you. Your rational mind tells you it's impossible, that this door cannot exist. Yet, here it is. You ignore it, walk away, and try to forget. But now, you can't help but notice strange things happening in your house. A cold draft, when all windows are closed. Whispers from empty rooms, objects moving when you're not looking. The house, your own mind, no longer feels entirely yours. It feels haunted. That locked door is the theme of our conversation today. It is the entrance to the parts of yourself you have refused to acknowledge. That haunting is the consequence of that refusal. We are embarking on a deep, perhaps unsettling, but ultimately liberating exploration of one of the most fundamental truths of the human psyche. You absolutely cannot heal what you refuse to feel. This isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a diagnostic tool for the soul. It's a map that leads us from a life of quiet desperation and unexplained chaos to one of authentic power and inner peace. We live in a culture obsessed with the light, positivity, happiness, success. These are the marketable, socially acceptable states of being. We are told to look on the bright side, to let go of negativity, to be strong. But this relentless pursuit of light, without an equal reverence for the dark, creates a dangerous imbalance. The great psychologist Carl Jung built his life's work on this very idea. He proposed that the psyche, like the world, needs both light and shadow to be whole. The parts of ourselves we deem unacceptable, our anger, our shame, our jealousy, our vulnerability, our deepest fears, they don't vanish when we ignore them. Instead, they are relegated to what he famously called the shadow. The shadow is the unconscious repository of everything we have disowned. It's not inherently evil. Think of it as a child you've locked in the basement because you didn't like its behavior. That child doesn't cease to exist. It grows up in the dark, starved of love and understanding. It becomes wild, resentful, and powerful, and it will find ways to make its presence known. It will bang on the pipes. It will scream at night. It will sabotage the foundations of the house from below. How does this forgotten child, this shadow, manifest in our lives? It's far more common than you think. The most frequent manifestation is projection. Have you ever had an instantaneous, intensely negative reaction to someone you've just met? Perhaps you find them unbearably arrogant, or lazy, or needy. Jung would argue that you are likely seeing a reflection of your own disowned shadow. You have locked away your own capacity for arrogance, perhaps out of a deep-seated fear of being seen as selfish. So when you encounter it in another, your psyche screams in protest. It's a defense mechanism. I am not that. They are that. Think of the relentlessly efficient workaholic who despises lazy people. On the surface, they are the epitome of productivity. But buried deep in their shadow is a part of them that longs for rest, for play, for unstructured time. They have denied this part of themselves so fiercely that they cannot stand to see it expressed in others. Their judgment is not about the other person. It is a battle cry against their own suppressed needs. Their life becomes a rigid, joyless pursuit of productivity, and they are often on a collision course with burnout, a total system collapse where the exhausted shadow finally breaks down the door. Another way the shadow speaks is through slips of the tongue or sudden, out-of-character emotional outbursts. Have you ever been in a calm conversation and suddenly snapped, saying something so harsh and cruel that it shocks both you and the other person. That wasn't you, meaning it wasn't your conscious, curated persona. It was the shadow bursting forth, an emotion you refuse to feel. Perhaps resentment that has been simmering for weeks, found a crack in your defenses and exploded into view. Afterwards, you're filled with shame and confusion, saying, "I don't know what came over me," because you have become a stranger to your own inner world. This refusal to feel is a form of profound self-abandonment. We are taught a dangerous lie, that certain emotions are bad and should be eliminated. Anger is uncivilized. Sadness is a sign of weakness. Fear is for cowards. Jealousy is petty. So we perform a kind of psychic surgery on ourselves. We try to cut these parts away, to present a clean, polished, good version of ourselves to the world. But you cannot amputate a part of your soul. You can only deny it. And this denial requires a colossal amount of psychic energy. Energy that could be used for creativity, for love, for growth, is instead diverted to maintaining the prison walls of our own psyche. This is where the ancient wisdom of Stoicism provides a powerful, practical toolkit. Many people misunderstand Stoicism, thinking it's about becoming a robot and suppressing all feeling. This is a caricature. Stoicism is not about refusing to feel. It is about refusing to be enslaved by your feelings. It's a subtle but life-changing distinction. A Stoic like the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius didn't pretend that insults didn't sting, or that loss didn't hurt. Instead, he trained himself to insert a gap between the initial feeling and his ultimate response. In his meditations, he constantly practices this. He writes, "Today I escaped from anxiety," or "No, I discarded it, because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside." Notice the shift. He feels the anxiety, he acknowledges its presence, but then he reclaims his power by recognizing its source. It's not the external event that is the problem, but his internal judgment about the event. This is the core of the Stoic practice known as the dichotomy of control, separating what is within our power, our thoughts, judgments, responses, from what is not, everything else. Let's apply this. Imagine you are betrayed by a friend. The feeling of pain, of anger, of sadness is immediate and powerful. The untrained response is to be consumed by it. You might lash out, plot revenge, or sink into a spiral of despair. The emotion is now the master, and you are its puppet. The Stoic approach is to first allow the feeling. You say to yourself, "This hurts. I am feeling betrayed and angry." You honor the feeling's existence. You don't deny it or shame yourself for it. You feel it, but then you create that crucial space. You ask, "Is my friend's action within my control?" No, title. Is my own response within my control? Yes. Will my endless rumination change what happened? No. Can I choose to respond with dignity, to learn from this, and to protect my own peace of mind? Yes. You are not suppressing the pain. You are metabolizing it. You are feeling it without letting it define your reality or dictate your next move. You are refusing to grant it sovereignty over your inner citadel. This is healing through feeling, not through avoidance. This convergence of Jung's depth psychology and Stoic practice gives us a complete roadmap. Jung shows us the what, the shadow, the unconscious contents we must face. The Stoics give us the how, the mental framework to face these powerful emotions without being destroyed by them. The journey begins with the radical, often painful, act of self-observation. This is shadow work. It is the practice of turning the spotlight of your attention inward. How do you start? Begin with your projections. The next time you feel that intense, irrational dislike for someone, stop. Get out a journal. Write down the name of the person and the specific qualities that irritate you so much. Be brutally honest. Is it their perceived weakness? Their loudness? Their arrogance? Their victim mentality? Now, here's the courageous part. Ask yourself, where is there a small hidden part of me that is also like this? In what situations have I acted this way, even to a tiny degree? What part of me is afraid of being seen this way? This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about reclaiming a lost piece of your own humanity. Perhaps you despise neediness in others because you were taught as a child that your own needs were a burden, so you buried them alive. Acknowledging this doesn't make you needy. It makes you whole. It allows you to finally give that disowned part of yourself the compassion it has always craved. When you integrate that piece, the projection often dissolves. The other person no longer holds the same power over you because they are no longer a screen for your inner movie. Another powerful technique, derived from Jung's method of active imagination, is to personify your unfelt emotions. When you feel a wave of anxiety, instead of saying I am anxious, try saying the anxious one is visiting me today. Give it a name, a shape, a voice. In your journal, have a dialogue with it. Ask your anxiety, what are you trying to protect me from? What is the worst-case scenario you are worried about? What do you need from me right now? By treating the emotion as a separate entity rather than your entire identity, you shift from a state of being overwhelmed to a state of being in dialogue. You are no longer drowning in the river. You are sitting on the bank, observing its current and learning its secrets. This practice strips the emotion of its tyrannical power. You are feeling it fully, respectfully, but you are not becoming it. You are learning its language and discovering the important message it carries for you. Your fear might be telling you you're unprepared. Your anger might be telling you a boundary has been violated. Ultimately, this journey into the dark is not about dwelling in misery. It is a treasure hunt. Jung was adamant that the shadow, once confronted and understood, contains not just our negative traits, but also our greatest strengths in their raw, undeveloped form. This is what he called reclaiming the gold from the shadow. Buried in your repressed anger is your capacity for decisive action and setting firm boundaries. Hidden in your grief is your capacity for profound love and connection. Tucked away in your fear is your courage. When you refuse to feel your anger, you also mute your passion. When you refuse to feel your sadness, you numb your ability to feel joy. A life lived in avoidance is a life lived in monochrome. To heal is to reclaim the full spectrum of your humanity. It is to have the courage to open that locked door in your mind, to walk into the darkness, and to sit down with the ghosts you've created. You will find they are not monsters. They are lost children, exiled parts of your own soul, waiting patiently for you to come home. And in that reunion, you don't just heal. You become whole. You become real.